Hello. Thank you for joining me on this devotion today. Justin is taking care of some paperwork because we just crossed the border into Mexico. Go, please. Thanks. So, while he's inside trying to take care of that paperwork, I'm going to do this devotion with you real quick. My name is Sarah. Today's October 23rd. The title of the devotion is Choose Life. The first verse is Romans 8:6, which says, "The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace." If you were given the choice between life and death, which would you choose? The answer seems obvious, but in reality, it's not. You see, choosing death doesn't necessarily mean jumping from the nearest cliff. It's much more subtle than that. The Bible says death is being carnally minded, being entangled in this present worldly realm. The Bible also tells us what life is. "My son, attend to my words," says Proverbs 4:20-22, "for they are life." To be worldly minded is death. To be word minded is life. In the 10th chapter of Luke, there's a story that illustrates this principle extremely well. It's the story of Mary and Martha. You probably remember it. Mary was sitting at Jesus' feet listening to him teach while Martha was bustling around the kitchen cooking dinner for everyone. Finally, Martha couldn't stand it anymore. She came to Jesus and said, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work? Tell her to help me." Jesus answered. I'm going to read it from my Bible. It's Luke 10:41 and 42. "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered. I'm really close to the screen, sorry. "You are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." Mary had set everything else aside so that she could hear the word, but Martha had let the seemingly important business of living take priority over the word. She's chosen death, not life. You see how easy it is to slip into that? "But Sarah," you say, "if I didn't spend all my time taking care of the business of living, my life would fall apart." Oh, really? Martha probably thought that too. She probably thought that if she didn't cook dinner for all those folks, they'd go hungry. But they wouldn't have. Jesus had miraculously fed multitudes before, and he could have done it again at Martha's home. She could have plopped herself down at Jesus' feet right there beside Mary, and they could have had a banquet at God's expense. Don't make the mistake that Martha did. Don't get so entangled in the business of living that you choose death by default. Decide to put the word first place. Choose life. The verse at the end of the devotion is Romans 8:5-13. Romans 8:5-13. Those who live in accordance to the flesh my new gimbal just suddenly turned off. Okay, let's try again. Romans 8:5 through, my goodness, how rude, 5-13. Those who live in accordance to the flesh have their mind set on what the flesh desires, but those who live in accordance with the Spirit have their mind set on what the Spirit desires. Just a second. Embarrassing. Okay. "The mind governed by the flesh is death, but the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. The mind governed by the flesh is hostile to God. It does not submit to God's law, nor can it do so. Those who are in the realm of the flesh cannot please God. You, however, are not in the realm of the flesh, but are in the realm of the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God lives in you. And if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, they do not belong to Christ. But if Christ is in you, then even though your body is subject to death because of sin, the Spirit gives life because of righteousness. And if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead, is living in you, I tell you what, hold on, where was I? And if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead is living in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies because of his Spirit who lives in you. Therefore, brothers and sisters, we have an obligation, but it is not to the flesh, to live according to it. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if you live by the Spirit, you put to death the misdeeds of the body, you will live. That is so on point. Every day, all the time. Look at there. Give your life to Jesus because he gave your life for you. Thanks for watching. There'll be a vlog video about Mexico soon. So stay tuned. Take what resonates with your spirit and leave the rest.